Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, and in today's video I have the best updated Storm builds for PvP and PvP for y'all. Now, as everybody may know, there's been a lot of updates this year in terms of, the gear meta changing and stuff like that. So I figured for the first time ever, I would basically make two updated guides within 1 year. For PvP, I'm going to be showing off about 2 to 3 different builds in case you do not have a certain piece of raid gear. And obviously for PvE, it's pretty much the same. I will also show that to you guys in this video as well. If you find this video useful at all, a like, rating, and a sub is always appreciated. I do post every single day, if not every other day. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into things, y'all. So starting off with PvP, because I know a lot of y'all watch me for Storm PvP, this is the best setup right now for Storm. Right now, in my opinion, I was basically running this up until 1970, and then I got stalked around the arena again, so that happened. But we almost got Warlord with this setup. It's really, really good. The only issue with it is you don't actually have any words, but if you play really good on a Storm, you don't really need any words. You can just beat anybody if you play well. So yeah, the stats, you get 8700 health, 183 damage on the dot, 50 universal resist, which is really low. Unfortunately, Storm has not great stats right now because of the current gear balancing. Really good accuracy to Storm, Death, Life, and Myth. Really solid stuff there. Your crit is kind of low, and your block, that's pretty much the only bad part about the setup, aside from your resist, is how low this is, and you'll see why it's bad a little bit later on in the video. And then your pierce is actually going to be 50 on the dot, which is pretty cool. It's not that bad, but it gets the job done. Not that great either. 64 outgoing, which is really, really solid. Your berries and your Darkened Stormies will do a lot with the setup. P-serve 33%, not that reliable, but honestly I P-serve quite a bit on my Storm with only 33%, so for me it works pretty good. Perfect pips, really good arch mastery, and really solid shads. This is the best shads you can get in terms of having 2-piece on your gear. So what I'm running is basically the Aeon hat with an outgoing shield pin, with the Void Robe with a Death and a Myth accuracy socketed. That is very important. Nightmare Boots with the outgoing shield pin, and obviously a Death accuracy, so I do not fizzle any of my death spells. You could probably take off 1 death accuracy here and put it somewhere else if you want to, but for the most part, you're only using Death, Myth, and Storm anyways, so you don't really need to do much with the spare accuracy slot. I just run Death because I really like to use death spells on my Storm right now. Then I have Supreme Wand. Right now, there are no good Shadow Wands for max level, so if you want to run a good Shadow Wand, you have to resort to a wand like Supreme, which is 12 levels behind and doesn't follow King Saul's new formula, but it's almost kind of good. It's decent, kind of mid, but most importantly, you get a lot of shads, which is cool. I'm running the new pack Athame for the outgoing, and you hardly lose any damage as well with a universal accuracy socket, so I won't fizzle any dual school stuff. Then we have the Myth Mastery Amulet. Again, Storm has to run this stuff because your base resist is so bad. As you can see here on these other gear pieces, you have to resort to running an amulet from 20 levels behind because your stats are just bad. So you want this for Minotaur and Jin's Defense and Myth Banshee. I have the new ring. This is a very important piece. You are definitely going to need this, hands down. There's literally nothing better in the game right now. Then we have the Storm Melody Dragon with these talents on right now. You could swap out the Queen Calypso for Brace Defy. That is absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all, guys, but I like having this for life since life is really good, and I typically don't like to bank on like a Maycast RNG to win my matches. But yeah, this pet is really solid. You can use the Elf pet or the Beetle. Beetle pet isn't terrible, but Death is meta and Banshee is really OP, So that's kind of why I've strayed away from Beetle and more into the elf department for the most part. Obviously, Clockwork Courser, nothing better. And I have the new deck with another universal accuracy slot. So we have 14 universal accuracy from 2 triangle sockets, which is pretty freaking cool. And that's kind of where we get a lot of our, our stats and stuff like that from. It's pretty convenient. This is the main and side deck I've been running. I'm missing a tower shield right now, so just add one of those in for 8. And that's what I've been running for the most part. Pretty solid build. Now, another build you can run if you do not have the Void Robe would be the Nightmare Robe and the Void Boots with the Supreme Wand. Now, this build is actually pretty good if you just go through the stats here real quick with me. Actually, pretty good accuracy, damage, resist, crit and block is still bad, but that's because of the wand. Really good pierce, outgoing. Shads are still pretty comparable. The only issue with this build, guys, is you lose 6 shads, which isn't a big deal, but you will get outshaded by 1 round if you play somebody with a Void Robe setup, which literally could mean life or death on a Storm. And also, your base health is just way too low. I don't know why Storm HP is this bad right now in the meta if we're supposed to be a health school. This is just way too little HP. We need a little bit more to work with, but yeah, that's the only bad part about the setup is the HP with this setup. Now, obviously for PvE, the build is pretty much the same as my original Novice Guide build, and I'll just briefly go through that with y'all right here. So I am missing my Champion Bronto still. I spent over 120,000 crowns, still did not get it, so I will have 6 more damage, but 2 of that gets capped by the damage cap, so you will have 220 damage, which is the most you can have in the game. And to my knowledge, only Storm can get that, so pretty solid. 8k health, 30 res, 44 accuracy, which is really good. Pretty much 800 crit, 330 block, which doesn't really matter in PvE. It'll be 51 pierce because you won't have a Clockwork on. You'll have the damage mount, so 51, so you'll pierce through like a Fortify, a Tower Shield, a Brace, pretty easy on a Storm. And then obviously you have a little bit of shads from the Nullity Robe in your P-Serve, and Arch Mastery doesn't really matter in PvE right now. So we just have the usual Aeon Hat with the Nullity Robe, the Aeon Boots, the Aeon Wand, Aeon, obviously, I like to run Flag Lobs for the extra stats compared to Dragoon, but Dragoon is pretty good. I probably would run Dragoon, guys, but my issue with Dragoon is it takes forever. I'm not trying to wait 4 minutes to see 4 people die, So I'm better off just double temping for the most part. Then I have the usual pet. Again, when you have that set bonus, you will have 6 extra damage. I just don't have it because pay to win. And yeah, I'm just running this deck right now, but in terms of best stats, you're actually going to want to run the Aeon deck because this deck gives you, obviously, a lot more health and more critical and more block and Arch Mastery. So you'll definitely want this deck if you are a perfectionist, the Aeon deck for a Storm. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say for this video, guys. It's more of a shorter one, just not really much to talk about. I wanted to briefly update the guide because I know a lot of y'all have been asking me for the builds to be updated, and I haven't been doing that because the game has been getting updated in terms of gear pretty often. So my entire channel would just be gear guides if I didn't, do something about it, like wait until now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you made it this far, a like, rating, and a sub is always appreciated. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, y'all.